Am I the asshole for demanding my husband to pay me the $1,000 he spent behind my back? My husband, 33, and I, 31, used to have a two-income home, but in 2020 we've lost our home and one of our incomes, his. We moved into a smaller apartment, had to sell many things and give up most of our costly habits. My husband has an expensive habit of going to the spa for a weekly massage session. We live in an urban area, so this stuff is ridiculously expensive. A single session is $250, and he has to have it every week, so that'd be nearly $1,000 a month. I offered him to have his session at a regular spa, but no, he has to get it from that luxurious spa near the restaurant we used to go, saying the lady who gives the massage is an expert and he's used to her. Problem is I'm the only income earner and I'm struggling to make ends meet. I'm also pregnant and need to save money to prepare a nursery. I told him to cut his sessions, but he refused. I told him I won't be paying for them anymore and he said he'd get the money himself. Yesterday I checked and saw that he's been using my credit card for his sessions for a whole month and had maxed out completely. I found that out when I went shopping for baby essentials and the cashier said I had no money. I had to return everything, then went home and went off on him. I told him he maxed my card out and made me look like an idiot at the store. He said he didn't tell me cause he knew I'd have an issue with it. I demanded he pay back the $1,000 he spent, but he refused. I yelled at him, calling him irresponsible, and he got upset and called me selfish and told me to stop playing victim and that this is affecting both of us since he's going to be a parent too and it's stressful for him and I keep dismissing his own needs as a human. I went upstairs and he went out. He started giving me silent, but I kept demanding the money back. He said I shouldn't expect it back since we're married, then my money is technically his and I should stop using his unemployment against him. Not the asshole. He stole from you to buy a luxury. Immediately cut him off from all access to your money and credit. Don't give him any money at all. And seriously reconsider living with him since he steals from you. Also, is there any chance that this spa treatment actually involves him paying for sex? Because there's something that feels off about all this. I'd be suspicious about the $200 plus for a massage, lol. Does anyone else think he might be going for a happy ending rather than the massage, or have I been reading Am I the Asshole comment sections too long? Have you ever looked up this place and what this $250 massage entails? Because that is a lot of money for a massage that he says he needs weekly. Does he have an injury that he requires it for, or is it a relaxation massage? I dunno. Something is off here. I'd be wondering if it's a massage he receives or something more. You, by the way, are very much not the asshole. Not the asshole. Cancel the card, put the money you earn in your name only. Maybe instead of getting a luxurious massage, he should be applying for jobs? Like WTF. A baby is going to drain finances even more. Not the asshole. I do think this is what they call foreshadowing. Not the asshole. Stop playing victim. Is a weird thing to yell at someone you've just been caught stealing from. Not the asshole. I'd check all my credit cards and I'd run a credit report. It's possible he may have opened new CC in your name too. I'd also lock my cards. He's really selfish. I worry for you and your baby. Am I the asshole for suggesting that my friend wears a bra or thicker shirt before coming over? Please bear with me and read post before judging. I have a 6-month-old, and just started allowing visitors. My best friend came to visit and I texted her suggesting she wear a bra or a thick shirt if she plans to hold my son because he grabs nipples very hard and my friend has hers pierced and has told me they're super sensitive. I explained this to her and she ignored my messages, but she came over anyway. Nipples poking through shirt and my 6-month-old was staring hands ready. I offered to give her a sweater and she looked at me sideways and suggested I was sexualizing her breasts and she isn't covering up. I explained that wasn't the case, but she didn't want to hear me. I respected her decision and asked if she still wants to hold the baby. She grabbed my son from me and within 5 minutes he had a death grip on her nipples and she jumped up, screamed in pain and pulled him off of her. I said, that's why I suggested a bra. This made her even more mad and said, no, you suggested that because you're a misogynist. I was so confused and she left abruptly. She keeps telling our mutual friends that I was sexualizing her breast and was trying to make her wear a bra or that I wouldn't welcome her, but that isn't at all what happened. Am I missing something? I feel like her reaction is really uncalled for. ETA. In the midst of our arguing she suggested that I should teach my son to not grab nipples, but he is just a baby. Not the asshole. You explained why you're suggesting that so it should be clear it has nothing to do with sex, and she's the only one sexualizing the situation. She sounds like a drama queen. Is she always like that? Must be tiring for everyone involved. Not the asshole plays stupid games, wins stupid prizes. Top tip: babies are vicious and should be treated as such. Don't give them access point. No delicate chains, dangling earrings or tank tops, they will be pulled down. Op warned friend and friend didn't listen, then paid the price. I explained that wasn't the case, but she didn't want to hear me. I respected her decision and asked if she still wants to hold the baby. She grabbed my son from me and within 5 minutes he had a death grip on her nipples and she jumped up, screamed in pain and pulled him off of her. Please tell me I was not the only one that laughed at this. She literally had it coming. BTW, not the asshole op. NTA. I had a breastfed baby. No nipples were safe from her vice-like grip before her understanding that only mom made milk. Man nipples, woman nipples, trans nipples. Any human nipples she could get her hungry little hands on. Experience the purple nurple titty twister from hell. Kids don't see boobs, they see yummy milk makers. Warning your friend about boob grabs was not sexualizing her breasts. Quite the opposite actually. And your baby certainly doesn't have the knowledge to distinguish between boobs that equals food and boobs that don't. Your friend needs a reality check. Sounds like she got it and chose to ignore it. Some people just need it to be about them. Edit spelling. Not the asshole. There's no grip like a breastfed baby with a nipple. You did explain why she should be careful, to protect herself. Either she didn't believe you, or she would rather have her super cool stance and have something to complain about. Not the asshole. As someone who has pierced nipples, I can respect and appreciate the fact that you gave her a warning. She's being dramatic. You warned her, yet she needed to make you out to be the bad guy. Not the asshole. You gave her fair warning and her claims of misogyny are ridiculous. Not the asshole. She made an assumption that you were sexualizing her breasts when you were just recognizing that they are a baby's food source and your baby would try to grab said food source. You were doing the opposite of sexualizing them. Am I the asshole for being upset at my parents who forgot me when we ate out? So I have a cousin that is about 7 that my extended family on my mother's side doted on, since she is the youngest, and my uncle had her rather late in life when he is in his late 40s. I was about 19 when she was born, so there is a very large age gap between us, so I tend to treat her more as my niece than as my cousin, as she's about the age of my nieces and nephews, on my dad's side. Because my cousin is the youngest, our families tend to let her get away with a lot of stuff that they wouldn't have let me get away with when I was her age. I'm probably the only one in my family who even reprimanded her for doing something she shouldn't, like pinching their family helper or using my house's sofa as her personal seesaw. So I entered college late at 22, so I was so proud when I was able to graduate college with high honors 4 years after that, and naturally wanted my parents there. However, apparently, my cousin has this very important piano recital on my graduation day, and she absolutely wanted both my parents there along with hers. I thought my parents would at least attend my college graduation, but no. Apparently, their own niece's piano recital is more important than their own daughter's graduation. My older brother and his then-girlfriend were the ones to attend my graduation. But fine, I'm an adult, and I have my brother and his girlfriend there. So no loss. Recently, due to COVID restrictions being lifted in my country, and we are able to dine out again, both our families decided to have a night out for dinner. When we were leaving the restaurant, I however got a phone call from work, and has to step away to answer it whilst my dad was footing the bill due to the high noise level. When I finally finished it and went back to where my family were, they were nowhere in sight. Calls to their phones went unanswered. At this point, I am starting to panic, as I am stranded in the middle of nowhere with just my phone. I made multiple tries to both my parents' phones, but they didn't answer. Left with no other choice, I had to hail the equivalent of Uber in my country and went back home. Fast forward a few hours, 10 p.m. Both my parents and my uncle's family enter my house, laughing about something. My uncle was going, "Where were you? We got tired of waiting, so we just left," and I told them the same thing I did earlier. That I had to answer a phone call and counter with where were they and why didn't they answer their phones. My mom then answered with, "Oh, less than cousin wanted an ice cream." So we went off. I totally blew up at that point, saying that they forgot their own daughter because their niece wanted an ice cream. In the heat of anger, I might have said more than I ought to. Now, my parents and even my uncle's family are both mad at me for being this upset because they just wanted to get my cousin an ice cream, saying that I'm an adult, and I can always go home by myself. It's not that which I'm upset about. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, your parents are being terrible. Honestly, if my parents skipped my college graduation for an effing piano recital for a 7-year-old, I would probably go NC. Leaving you at a restaurant like that is really shitty. Do you even want people who care so little about you in your life? Hugs. Not the asshole, especially because they forgot your graduation in favor of a piano recital. Why don't you forget all the major holidays of your country for a long while, and their telephone number? Not the asshole, my cousin got married the same weekend I got graduated college, and guess what? My grandparents made sure one of them was at each event. And no offense to your 7-year-old cousin and all offense to her parents and your parents, but a piano recital, unless it's at the equivalent of your debut at Carnegie Hall, is not the equivalent of a wedding or a college graduation. It doesn't take 5 minutes to at least text you and say, "Hey, where are you? Hey, we're leaving to get ice cream from X." The fact that they couldn't both to do that says a lot. In a decade, both sets of adults are going to wonder why you and your siblings have little to do with them and why your cousin is so spoiled. And they'll only have themselves to blame. Not the asshole. Her own graduation? Nah, I would've went NC with them, the audacity. Not the asshole. Wow. Next time your parents call and ask you to do something, tell them to ask your cousin. Not the asshole, but your parents certainly are. I'd honestly go NC for a while if possible. Not the asshole. Your parents skipping your graduation for their niece's piano recital is bullshit. You mentioned in a comment your brother is low contact with them. I recommend you follow suit and you and your brother and Sil can spend holidays together, etc. Let your parents figure it out on their own when they're old and need help. Not the asshole. Fucking wow. Your family is incredibly lacking in awareness or basic courtesy. They didn't know where you went, so they left? They could have at least called or texted to find out where you were. Next time if you have a call, go sit in their car so they can't ditch you. Am I the asshole for showing up to my ex's house after our daughter sent me a concerning message? I and my ex split when our daughter, 13, was about 2, and have always had split custody, 50-50. My ex remarried when our daughter was 5, and now has 2 younger kids. Her husband also has a son our daughter's age. I pay for a phone for her so she can keep in contact with both of us. She's smart with it and it's never been an issue before. When she's at her mom's she texts me quite a bit. She has cats here she wants to be updated on mostly. Anyway, I dropped her off at school on Monday, and her mom picked her up like usual. She texted me on and off through school, and once more when she was picked up, but I didn't hear from her again that day. It was strange. She always messages me before bed but I brushed it off. She's growing up. She'll stop texting me good night one day. On Tuesday no messages again, so I shoot a text to her mom, who doesn't reply. After school I finally get a text from my daughter, which literally reads, "Daddy help." That's it. No response after I messaged her back. Obviously I'm thinking 101 things. I text her mom and call her, no reply. So I hop in my car and drive over, and she's fine. Ish. She sees me, comes bolting out, asks if I can bring her home. I have a lot of questions, but apparently so does her stepdad. He comes storming out, asks what I think I'm doing, etc. It's their week, I shouldn't be picking her up yet. I explain my issue, he gets all big guy, and yells at my daughter for scaring me, which was not taken lightly by me. Anyway, turns out they were on an electronics detox, and all electronics have been locked away. My daughter got upset on Monday night and her stepbrother made fun of her, which continued through to the next day at school. She snuck onto her phone when she got home to text me, but got caught and had it locked away further. Her mom got home a few minutes after the initial argument, and I told her she shouldn't be doing something like this with my daughter without my approval. That phone is my property, and I say she can use it to contact me if need be. Lock it up during the day if you must, but let her say good night at least. She apologized for that, but stuck by her husband in the fact that I shouldn't have just shown up. I told her I texted her, she said her phone was also in lockup, so I should have tried the house phone or her work phone. Personally I think calling her place of work to discuss our kid is absurd, and I don't have their house phone's number. I took my daughter home as she didn't want to stay, but it's been tense. Obviously they aren't communicating because they're still on detox, but my parents have since agreed with her, claiming that she's the other parent and if anything happened to her I would have been told. I need to trust her judgment, etc. Which I get, but she wasn't responding, either. So, AITA? Did I overreact? Not the asshole. You literally received a text that says, "Daddy help," Checking in person was exactly what a father is supposed to do in this situation. IMHO. Not the asshole. The only acceptable reaction to receiving a "daddy help" text out of the blue is to immediately drop what you're doing to get to wherever she is, especially when you've tried to reach her other parent but got no response. Not the asshole. You get a text that reads, "Daddy help," and no response to any communication, you're going to come flying over. There are people who would have broken down the door to get to her. Should put the pressure on them about the sheer irresponsibility here. They can't be reached in an emergency, but I bet if you didn't respond to them, they would be up in arms. There could have been any number of emergencies on either side and they're just out of contact because they have some obsession with the idea of not using a phone. Not the asshole. Daddy help, they are lucky you didn't call the police. They needed to give you a heads up that your daughter would be out of communication for a few days. When you're used to hearing from her daily, it would raise a major red flag if she suddenly stopped. That one text you did receive would have sent me flying to their house. So they cut off all avenues of communication without any warning and then are surprised when you jump into action when you get a single text saying, "Daddy help." You should let your lawyer know that they decided to cut off all communication with your daughter during their custody time. I too have a 13-year-old daughter, and a 10-year-old daughter, too. Both have phones. If I got a "Daddy help" text, God Almighty wouldn't get in my fucking way until I found out exactly what the problem was and what its resolution would be. Fuck your ex and her husband. You did absolutely the right thing. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You didn't overreact. They should have informed you of what they were doing with the detox, which, to me, sound incredibly stupid. Especially for a 13-year-old girl. Not the asshole. Your ex was the asshole. Who does something like this without informing the other parent? I think it would have been fine to enforce the electronic detox at her house, if she had told you about it in advance, so you didn't panic when your daughter didn't text you like normal. Which is exactly what happened. I can't really blame your daughter for the "Daddy help" text. Although the obvious thing to do would be to call you from the landline, or insist her mother do so, as soon as the phone was confiscated, not steal her phone and send you a 911 text. I'm not really surprised that a child didn't think of that.